ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us at Select Radio for an exclusive interview with famous When Dead Records boss Cash Only, hosted by
Hello,
myself,
mate.
Onncor.
How are you?
Very good to have you, mate. How are you today?
Good. Not bad, mate. Not bad. Just played a bit of paddle in the studio now, which unfortunately in this day and age resembles more of an office than a studio, or a social media creator center. But yeah,
Yeah,
just in here, tying up some loose ends, for just having a week off next week and then straight back at it.
awesome, awesome. It's funny you mentioned paddle as well. That's a sport that's blowing up on a side note. That is, it's very popular these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. I was there this morning. We had a league match at the gym that I go. We have a paddle court, and then at the end, I was like, "Can I just have a look at the playlist?" So I got the Spotify playlist, and I was like, "Right, follow," and just added loads of my music as well. So I was like, "Well, at least I'm getting 0.003 pence of a stream every time I play paddle."
Yeah,
So,
why not? Why not? It's all about the numbers. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, because we really wanted to get you on today, as you've been so rife in the scene for so long, and you've actually touched on various different aspects of the industry as well. So it's quite an interesting conversation to have your opinions on. To be fair,
okay.
um, breaking through the scene way back in, we think, 1996. You've been storming it through. It's been a lot of changes, I can imagine personally, when you're going from an independent artist to then label managing Dvine Records, et cetera, et cetera. Do you feel like the position that your sound is at in today, where you're creating much more sort of afro house leaning releases, almost in comparison to some previous garagey or house sounding records? Do you think that's a reflection of the scene or more of your personal tastes?
I think so. I've done music for 30 years in numerous guises, DJ, producer, record label manager, selling vinyls back in the day, booker, promoter, tour manager, all sorts of stuff. So, I've been involved. I even had a school that taught children academic subjects using music and other creative arts
Oh,
as a
well.
platform. So, I've been involved in music for a long time and I cut my teeth on jungle and UK garage. So those were very pivotal moments for me in my life. And then as things progressed, I ended up doing what most emerging artists do and have day jobs. And my day job was I used to have children's homes and a school. So that got that big and that busy that I had to kind of put music to the side for 10 years.
Mhm.
So probably from 2009 to 2019, music was not very much on the back burner for me, which was a shame because I love music, heavily.
Mhm.
Um, and also, music's evolved a lot over those 30 years. I still listen to garage from 1998, when I was in my 30s. I've still got tape packs from all those years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I am heavily influenced by garage, but over time, obviously different music genres have popped in, things like UK funky. Right now we're it's quite heavily Afro orientated, other like bassline house, speed garage scenes. So I think for me, having been involved in music for so long, the music that I create is very wide and diverse, which from an artist point of view isn't always helpful because if you listen to a song and you'll be like, that's a Todd Terry track, or that's a Masters of Work track, or that's a Smoky Bubbling Bee track. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's difficult when I'm exploring my creativity through my music at this moment in time,
Mhm.
rather than kind of sitting in one lane. So I mean, last week I had three releases in three different charts on Traxsource. Um, but I'm just making music that I love. And what I'm doing, because my sets are quite diverse, I might start about 118 BPM on some, deep Afro tech stuff and build it up. We get a little bit more housey, and we might even end up on speed garage.
Mhm.
Anytime I do a mix or, when I have the opportunity to play out and do that, I always love to do that. I like to take people on a bit of a journey. So,
Yeah.
my whole production style up until this moment in time and probably until the end of the year is very much an exploration of my musical passions, influences that I've got since I've been back in the studio. I mean, as I say, I had 10 years off, so I kind of got back into music properly in 2022. So I've been back at it almost 3 years, released 16, 17 records during that time, and almost every single one of them is very different. But I
Mm.
like that. So I'm going to keep exploring my creativity and my passions and my tastes until the end of the year, and then I'm going to really try and hone in on what that cash only sound is. But in the meantime, I'm just making music that I love. I make music that you can listen to at home. I make music that you can listen to in the club. I make music that fits my sets. At the moment, we're in quite a bit of an afro, deep tech kind of melodic genre,
Mhm.
but we're going to kind of come out of that as we progress throughout the year. And the big finale at the end of the year is I'm looking to do a kind of mini album that really celebrates my roots, which is that whole UK garage or US house sound from the late 90s.
Right.
And I've got a few tracks already made for it, some that are kind of a homage to people like Sammy Virgie, who's obviously very hot right now, but also people like Danny J. Lewis, who made Spend the Night. I made a track with him about 14 months ago. We didn't really know what to do with it, but it's a great track and I love it. And I want to just create this kind of 10-track journey doing collabs with people. I've done collabs with Scott Garcia, for example. He's from the garage scene. I've done collabs with Fen from Ramsey and Fen. So I have started to celebrate that throughout my releases,
Mhm.
but I really want to just kind of leave a body of work at the end of the year, which is very garage orientated, but also celebrates those moments across that journey of that 98 kind of house, that 98 US house garage sound, moving all the way through the UK funky stuff, the more Afro bits now, and just pulling all those influences and work with people that I respect in the industry.
Honestly, I think it's brilliant. I think it's such a strength, to be able to diversify the music you're making and playing. Like it's funny, we're in a time period where there are more subgenres than ever, and everyone likes the idea of being categorized. But at the same time, music's so accessible that I think everyone wants just different sounds. It's very mundane to listen to the
Yeah,
same house tracks from 10 tech house tracks from the same artist and people, for example. I think
yeah.
that you can incorporate that into an album as well, and it's a whole story itself. In
Yeah. An album's a great place to explore your creativity, really. To leave a body of work and to bring in collabs and different vocalists and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
think that's a great a great thing to do, and I've never done it before.
Mhm.
So we'd probably drop that around November time, and what we'd probably do is release one or two tracks from it leading up to it. So I've got a really cool speed garage track with Scott Garcia and Alex Mills, who you might have heard of, who's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've had a play for us at Select as well.
yeah, so,
Yeah,
she's sung on some of the biggest dance records ever, and she's
yeah.
amazing to work with. She's really cool as well. I love her, so I'm really proud of that record. And then yeah, we'll probably pick another one from it, and then yeah, we just get it released and see what happens. And yeah, 30 years ago, music was very much kind of categorized into this is garage, this is house, this is techno. But nowadays, I think there's so many influences being brought into so many different styles that I think in 2025 as an artist, you have got license to explore different subgenres. But for me, as long as it's house based, and again, house in such a wide spectrum, it gives you lots of room to explore.
Mhm. 100%. I mean, I think one of your absolute strengths is your collaborations as well. It seems that it doesn't matter what the sound necessarily you're producing, you've got the ability to bring vocalists or other collaborators in and push that new sound that you're creating further even forward.
Yeah. Well, every single track that I make is, I mean, I don't just sit in the studio and just make music on my own. It's very much a collaborative process. If you look at the way that Kanye West makes music, he'll have all the best people in the room, the best songwriters, the best vocalists, the best keyboard players, the best engineers. I mean, he's got Hudson Mohawk making his bass lines. Do you know what I mean? So I work in a very similar way, but on a lot smaller scale, obviously. So typically, when I make music, I'll set up a writing camp. So we'll do 2, 3 days. Probably do it in London so that it's easy and accessible for the people involved. I'll have some top songwriters in there. I work with someone quite a lot called Dee Adam. She's got credits on some Ben West Beach stuff on Marabou State. She helped write quite a few of the records that I've released. Then I'll work with a handful of vocalists and we bring other people in. So people like Iola, or Shannon Saunders, who you might have heard of, who
Mhm.
does a lot of the Wilkinson records. She was the vocalist on the recent Nervous release that I put out. I've worked with Alex Mills, Ra, who's done the Prosper track,
Mhm.
Rains, who I've done 2 or 3 tracks with, and some other people, Kyra, who I wrote Holy Water with as a collab with China Charmeleon over in South Africa. So yeah, I love working with artists in a room. I have top engineers there because I'm on tour that much. I can make the music, but I need someone to help me bring it to life quicker. So
Yeah.
it's always, if you've got the ability to work collaboratively and get all those people in the room, I think you get a lot better product from doing that. And also you make tracks that have always got that crossover potential, those catchy hooks. Again, if you listen to all my catalog, there's maybe only one track in there that isn't really a full vocal track.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, as we progress now, I think I want to get a little bit more clubby so that I'm making music more so for DJs to buy and play in clubs, because I think most of my music, while it can be played in clubs and I do play it in clubs, I think that it is more kind of for the streaming listener.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. But that's also a reflection of the industry in today's age, you know. Obviously, you've just launched this year, right? Your new label, Famous When Dead Records. And I wonder how that inspired you to push out a new label where you can sort of share these collaborations much more intuitively and put your releases in different sounds, all that in one place.
Yeah, so since I got back in the studio a few years back, obviously as an artist, you make loads of music and you send it out to labels and you try and get it signed.
Mhm.
So it's, as most artists will tell you, especially when they're just coming onto the scene, or they're what we might call emerging. It's not as easy to get some of these bigger record labels like the Nervouses or Dvine Sounds or whatever to take your music. So I think I've done pretty well. I mean, last year I think I had something like 11 releases over 8 labels. Some labels took 2 tracks from me, which was really cool because we had a great working relationship and blah blah blah.
Mm.
But I feel that to consistently release music, you need your own platform as well. And I can put music on Divine Sounds if I want. However, we have a bit more of a defined kind of remit as to what that must sound like. So I wanted to launch my own platform where I could release my own music as and when I like, because I think it's important with any record label that's artist led that the artist that leads on that label also releases on it. And also to release other music from people that I like their productions. So there's a lot of artists out there at the moment that have sent me stuff, that I've played their stuff, that I've built a relationship up. They might have caught a video of me playing one of their songs in a club. In this day and age, people repost that on Instagram. Then I normally get a message from that artist saying, "Oh, thanks for playing that track." And I'm like, "Yeah, I really like your stuff. Let's do some stuff together." So Famous When Dead Records is a new label. It's to support my music. I believe in my music, so I must put it out on my own label. I will still pitch music to other record labels, but if you truly believe in what you're doing, then back yourself and put your music out yourself. But as I say, also we've got some really exciting remixes of some of my records from other artists that have sent me music that I play. People like John Bucheri, who's an absolute bassline speed garage legend up north.
Mhm.
GEE, again, a wicked garage producer over in the Netherlands that I've done a collab with, that actually comes out on Divine Sounds in not too distant future. Cristiano Fry, he's really cool. Jordan Peak, who you may or may not have heard of, he's done a remix for me.
Cool.
What else is on my board? Jewel Kid, Jewel Kid.
Oh
He's
yeah, cool.
prolific at the moment. A lot of stuff on Tool Room. He's just done a remix of the Take It Down track that I did with Rains, and
Yeah.
it's very very house. It's got a lot of support already, and we're actually in talks with quite a big label about licensing that. So let's see what happens there.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah, so lots of collabs, lots of interactions with other artists. Bringing other artists through, and mainly let's just have some fun. Famous When Dead is a project about bringing music and art together. So another project that we've got going at the end of the year is almost like bringing a little slice of Glastonbury or Shangri-La. I don't know if you've ever been to Glastonbury or
oh
Shangri-La,
yeah,
but
very much.
Shangri-La is like the after party spot, but it has kind of this whole sort of not quite anti-government or anti-establishment message,
Mm.
but kind of, it's quite strong on like, let's be mindful about the use of oil. Let's, let's the whole, whole cash
Yeah.
only thing, like this cashless society. So kind of just bringing a little slice of that into the heart of Shoreditch. So I'm just trying to work that out now for an event in September to
Yeah.
finish off the. So yeah, that's the whole concept of Famous When Dead, and I think it's quite funny. We call it Famous When Dead because the artist that does all my artwork, he's actually a street artist called Famous When Dead. That's his artist name, and I always thought it was a really cool name for a record label because all
Yeah.
us emerging artists, we're all trying so hard to make it and to get people to listen to our music, and you know what? It's not going to happen for a lot of us, myself included, or it might not, and
Yeah.
we'll probably just be famous when we're dead.
That's the beautiful thing about art, right? It stays around for forever. Like it's something that we leave behind, and we go back to, you say, the body of work with an album, for example, or the
Yeah.
label. It's something that really does stay around, and hopefully we still become famous whilst alive. But it's something for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, when I do get that hit record that does millions of streams, I'll change the record label name to Famous When Alive.
Sure. Well, Take It Down's been getting some great support recently, isn't it? I mean, we've been championing it on
Yeah,
Selector, and it looks like you've had some great support with it.
yeah, it's got huge radio support. Carl Kassim played it in South Africa on 5FM, so that I mean he's the king over there of that kind of music. Um, yeah, every day I get reports that it's played on different stations. It's a really beautiful track. It's one of my favorites. I really believed in that track. And Rains, the artist, she's incredible, and she's going to
Feel
have a
like
big future
the
as well.
hook going round in my head right now, to be honest. Yeah, take it down.
And we've got the John Bucheri Speed Garage version, and we've got the Jewel Kid version as well. So, we're hitting all the bases, and we had a really cool music video. We got over 2 million plays on TikTok using it as a sound. So yeah, it got to number 5 in the charts on Traxsource. So yeah, it could have done a bit better, but look, again, all we can do is do our best, and I believed in that track, and I love that track, and I'll keep playing that track for a long time. So yeah, it was great.
Definitely won't be the only one. That is for sure. It's an awesome record. But going back to the art collaboration with and inspiration for your label as well. Do you see your label expanding to do like takeovers and events where you can incorporate the live art there as well? Or is it something you just want to keep to artwork for the moment?
Yeah, no, that's it. We want to explore music and sound and vision in any way we can. So at the moment, we're developing a load of animated visuals. So it'd be really cool to do, like E1 has a really cool LCD screen system that moves around and stuff. It would be really cool to do something at a venue like that. And yeah, this space that I'm looking at in Shoreditch at the moment, like as you walk in, like almost like, as I say, like almost a mini slice of Glastonbury kind of
Yeah.
um like almost an art installation. And as you come in, lots of the artwork on the walls, LCD screen with animated visuals. We do a lot of merchandise as well. So I do little limited edition t-shirt drops. So we're working on a fashion range as well, or just some really cool, lifestyle music type garments that you can buy. Prints. We're looking to do a series of some prints as well that we might sell in a limited edition ways. So
Mm.
yeah, there's the whole aim of the label is to really hit home that sound and vision angle, because otherwise we're just another record label.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of different labels and artists out there right now. You've got to try and do something different to get your head above water sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think it's brilliant because it actually teaches a great sort of message as well. I mean, going back to the Shangri-La reference, that's something that I've never been to a place like it. I don't think many people have been to a place like it where you can be politically educated to an extent, but also still have a brilliant time actually raving.
Yeah, and yeah, and that is kind of what we do want to send very positive social messages that
Mm.
aren't too, far left or even far right. We just want to almost have a satirical take on modern day life in the challenges that we all face with the
Yeah.
way that we're all addicted to our phones, or we feel the impacts of things like Brexit, and we feel the threat of people from the right wing, hitting home these whole, very hostile anti-immigrant kind of messages. So all that kind of stuff, like I'm very against. So, it's about educating people in a cool and fun way. And, I mean, I did a lot of stuff with Love Music, Hate Racism
Yeah.
15 years ago. So yeah, I mean, in Stoke-on-Trent, where I lived for a long time, we had five councillors from the BNP, like literally, running the city.
Wow.
So through a lot of, it's horrendous. So
Yeah.
obviously we have another kind of almost political threat with reform, which almost seems to be Nazis in suits, in my
Mm,
opinion. But this is only my opinion.
yeah.
And I think people need to need a little bit more education on what actually happens as opposed to what people see through malicious social media and stuff like that.
Definitely. I mean, I think it's inspirational to actually use your platform for some sort of change for the greater good. It's very easy to just not even attempt to try and make any sort of long-lasting difference other than putting your own stuff out there and actually having an ethos behind it. I think it's very inspirational, and I wish you all the best with it because you definitely need it in a time right now.
Yeah, definitely, mate. 100%.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, have you got some very exciting stuff this summer that you're looking forward to getting over to?
Yeah, I've got loads of shows. I mean, I've got Park Life, Reading Festival, playing for the Jägermeister guys. Like their stage is always like amazing.
Yeah.
And big up TDK and Kanga for that. They're two legends in the radio game as well. And then what else? Glastonbury, playing Shangri-La twice,
Oh,
playing
wicked.
before, yeah,
I'll
playing
make
before.
sure I'm there to see you. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, you coming, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm playing Shangri-La on the Saturday before Mass Tiempo, I think.
Sweet.
So that would be a vibe. And then what else have I got? Yeah, some Ministry of Sounds, Defected Croatia, High in Ibiza, Pikes again in August or September, just working that out now.
Brilliant.
Playing Eden for the first time in Ibiza.
Oh, brilliant.
Um,
That's a cool
but
club.
yeah, yeah, there's loads going on. It's just kind of trying to say no is actually the issue now.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I only went back into music for it to be fun. And at times in this day and age, when you're so consumed with having to do all the other stuff that you have to do as an artist, like your content and this, that, and the other, and it just gets overwhelming at times. It's hard enough running two record labels, DJing almost weekly, making music, sorting all the content out, all the promo,
Having a
doing
family.
radio, doing stuff like this. Oh yeah, and I've got kids and a wife and a dog, and I'm hardly ever in the country. So, yeah, it is a case of kind of hitting home and concentrating on the fun stuff and just doing it because you love it. Any artist out there now that's doing it because they think they're going to be mega famous or going to make loads of money, I think that they should have a lot of patience. But and again, I mean, if you look at the wife, Sam Divine, she's been doing this for 20 plus years, and she didn't just all of a sudden become number one house DJ in the world. She started giving out flyers in the West End in Ibiza in San
Yeah.
Antonio, years and years ago, and DJed 6 nights a week with vinyl, lugging record boxes, up the street into an Irish bar, and bit by bit, doing what she had to do to get to where she is. And I mean, this weekend she's playing Pasha in Ibiza and then in Dubai at Bohemia for Defected as well. And that's an incredible place to get to, but it didn't happen overnight. So yeah, for emerging artists, I think everyone just needs to hold their breath and strap in and be consistent and keep working hard.
Completely. I mean, that is one of the downsides to social media, right? People just see it through a lens. They see a certain part of the success and they don't have any clue to the backstory. And people don't do their research as well. So it's very hard for people to think that they can just jump straight into it and then fall out of love with it very quickly because they have no immediate success and they're comparing themselves to people that have been in the game for 10, 15 years, much longer than that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There are some people that pop through, like people like Enzo is burning and blah blah. Other people like that. But the chances of that is slim to none. This is to be a music artist. You have got to do it because you love it. You can easily wake up in the morning. I mean, before I played at Pikes in Ibiza, I think I played in London somewhere the week before, and I was like, yeah, I just really don't want to do this anymore. I was tired. The gig wasn't that great and whatnot. And so before the gig at Pikes, I was like ready to give up DJing. Then I went and played in the bathtub room at Pikes, blew the roof off it, had the most fun, and I was like, yeah, this is sick.
Yeah,
So
this is why I do
and
it.
then 2 days later, I played at Ocean Beach for the first time. So again, that was quite cool. So,
Of
you
course.
know, you have to have resilience in this game, and especially if you're internationally touring, it can get very tiring. So yeah, I think if we're all non-expectant in what we get from it, apart from anything other, I've done 1 million streams in a year, and that's when I first started getting my streaming numbers back up about 13, 40 months ago. Like the fact that 10,000 people listen to my music was amazing. And I never thought that I could get to this number. And it's taken a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and money as well, because again, in this day and age, you need to pay people to do promotional campaigns and press and PR and everything else. It's very hard. So yeah, the fact that 1 million times my songs have been played on Spotify, and I've had number ones on Traxsource and good other chart positions elsewhere, means a lot to me. The fact that actually one person has taken the time to listen to my song or follow me on Spotify means a lot. And bit by bit, the fan base is building. I had two super fans come over from Italy to see me in Ibiza, and that was really cool. Like I got them into the booth at Ocean Beach, and I'd say, "Oh, come with us for a drink after." It
Yeah,
was really cool to have those little warm moments. Even like I'm not the biggest of artists, so to have that is really cool.
it's brilliant to realize, yeah, the effect that you can have on people's lives, from just following your passion and leading a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely inspirational. I really do hope that you get all the success with the new label and everything this year. It is a very interesting project, and we'll be fully behind you at Select, that is for sure. And we'd love to have you back when the album's out at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the schedule's busy, but look, I'm here to, support and share. There's no gatekeeping or anything from me. I'm just about, if I'm here and I can do it, I'll do anything. If anyone ever needs any help or advice, people hit me up. I always point them in the right direction. I'm just about, mate. I'm just here to have a bit of fun, make a bit of music, DJ here and there, and just do that basically.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's brilliant. So where would people be best to hit you up if they would like to get on with you?
Yeah, so if you want to get hold of me, you can email me cash@djcashonly.com. Drop me an email. Sometimes it might be a few days before I get back to you. If you've got music to send for any of the record labels, then again, hit me up on my email. Try not to hit me up on Instagram because the inbox is just flooded. And I always feel that it's important to get back to people. So yeah, email is always best, cash@djcashonly.com.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. It's been brilliant chatting to you. Really appreciated the insight.
Yeah, amazing, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Trying to take it down deep. Trying to take it down, take it, it's too much for you. Trying to take